I have been painting some random things that I've been finding around my house, mostly little shiny things. And this week, again, something shiny out of one of those drawers that you throw everything into. Can you guess what it might be? Some clips. Yep, I've had some fun with this. It was not easy. Those fine lines were crazy. Come with me and I'll share with you some of the challenges and the things that I learned painting this week. Well, yes, there's a lot of black in it, so let's start there. I've done the drawing, as you can see already here, and it is a time lapse, so I'm just looking at this later on and letting you know what I was thinking at the time, just trying to get this black in here. I did add a bit of burnt sienna to some Payne's grey, so just trying to get it in. I'm feeling very nervous at this stage because I'm thinking, how am I going to make all of those lines, those really sharp straight lines, how am I going to make them look straight? Do I need to use a ruler? Because it's really hard to use a ruler with a brush because you've got to make sure the ruler doesn't lean on the actual, the bristles, but it leans on the heavier, the straighter edge of the brush where you're holding onto it. So it's really tricky to use rulers when you're painting, and I thought it's just too small to do that. So I just decided at this point, I'm like, I'm going to have a go at just trying to make it look straight with my hand. So thankfully, I've got a fairly steady hand, and I managed to get an idea of making that straight. It was really tricky here trying to think about the colour because I could see it wasn't grey, but obviously it's a silver thing, right? But it's the shine that's happening around in the atmosphere, or whatever you want to call it. So I actually started with a bit of brown and black and white, so some grey with some brown in it, just to see if that would work. So I'm playing around with it, and it ended up being the right colour in the end, but I did add some darks and lights in the end, as you'll probably see in a minute. But here it's just really hard to get these straight lines, and I kept changing brushes, smaller brushes, then I got a thinner brush, and I was trying to make the bristles on it really flat so that I could get that shape in it. I'm just trying to look at where all the highlights are. It's tricky putting highlights in on a white background because you can't see them all that well. So later on, when I do a few shadows, you can see those sort of highlights. They do show up a bit more, but here I really am, I'm still feeling nervous at this point and just going, how am I going to do this? Finding another brush there. I got a really long rigger brush then. I was just like, try to get that fine lines, because it's not a very big piece, this. And I'm not really used to doing big pieces, and to be honest, I don't actually like doing tiny pieces, but I like doing them for the YouTubes. It's fun. It's easy. It takes me about an hour to do one of these. So it's a fun little thing. Most of the work that I do, it takes months and months to do. So it is fun to do a small piece, but it's not really something I enjoy as much as doing the bigger ones, to be honest with you. Now, having said that, I was super nervous doing this, but once I got into it, I actually started to enjoy it, because at this point when I'm painting here, I could see that the lines were getting straight, that the colours were working. I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to make this work. I think it'll be all right. It wasn't, I knew all along that I wasn't going to get really straight lines, because I'm trying to do it with my hand, not with a ruler. But I always know that I can come back and I could come back and use some white to sort of shape around the edges in different colours. So yeah, we're getting in this turquoisey colour in here, and as we go along, I'm sort of trying to work out, well, is it dark, is it light? Because there's sort of darker spots and lighter spots. In this first bit here, I don't like how much white I put in there, and I come back and darken it a bit more, if you can see there, and just make that lighter on the edge, and just trying to work out where else is there that colour. There's a few water drops on there, but I do them towards the end rather than, as I'm going here. I'm just trying to make sure that I can get the colours right, get the shapes right, and get everything straight. That was the challenge here. This little bit here was the wrong shape, so I ended up changing it a little bit, trying to get all of the dark in. You can hardly see the shape of that clip there. And I've got some shadow on the other clip, so just trying to make that work. Just playing around with the shapes here, because I wasn't quite happy with the shape and how much do I sort of show, because it's so fine, the lines, that I just thought, oh well, I'll leave it as it is. So I'm using the same colour as I used before on the other clip. It's got a little bit of brown in it, so it's grey with some brown, but just trying to introduce a bit of grey in the shadow. The shadows are really tricky because, especially on this small piece, I find that if I water down the paint too much and try and do that shadow sort of with a lot of medium, it doesn't work. So I actually have to use the different colours of like the different greys. I sort of lighten the grey, and towards the end I actually use a bit more white to sort of blur the edge. But here I'm just trying to get that clip at the background, which is really quite light. So I'm like, I better put some white on there, make that work. I'll put the shadow on so that the light stands out. But it's tricky on a white background to make that work. Here, just getting some pure white, no medium, just trying to pop in all those little shiny bits, and I'm fixing up a little bit of mess that I keep putting on with my fingers. Now this shadow here, yeah, tricky, trying to get the shadows right. How dark do they go? It's not quite as dark as the black that is there, so just trying to play around with that and get that working. Yeah, just mixing colours so that as I go out further and further, I make it lighter and lighter colour. Like I said before, sometimes I do try and just water down, you know, the grey or whatever and extend it out, but it ends up not working. It makes the canvas, the texture of the canvas come through too much. So I want to go back and get more colour, more paint to sort of blend that a bit better. Just trying to fiddle with all the little water drops here, looking at where the darks and the lights are, making sure that I even sort of darken a bit of that turquoisey colour in the end. So as I'm coming towards the end, I'm trying to squint my eyes and look at where all the darks are, where all the lights are, fiddling around, and I think, yeah, see, I'm darkening that turquoise a little bit more just to give a bit more shape to it. Just thinking, where can I fix things? Where can I make things a bit darker? I noticed the shadow wasn't completely all around that black clip, so I'm trying to make that a bit better here. And yeah, got a bit of a mess at the bottom there. We fixed that up. But last little bit here is we're just trying to go around and look at where all the other shadows and things are, refining things, trying to get things straighter, highlights here and there. But yeah, that's been a bit of fun. I've just been enjoying playing around with this. It has been really tricky and really hard to do those lines, but I'm actually really happy with how much my steady hand made those lines fairly straight. And just to finish off, I just keep squinting, keep looking at things, keep looking at where all the darks and the lights are, fiddling around and squinting at the original, squinting back at my actual painting and going, where can I just tweak things to make it even stand out better and much more refined. So hope you've enjoyed having a look at that. I know I had a bit of fun doing it. And that was a bit of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Those straight lines were really tricky to do. If you want to paint some images like I have behind here, you can actually go and find some gridded up images for free in my photo vault, or down the track you can join some other programs I have where we have a lot of fun doing live stuff. But have a look at the links below. Until next time, have a good week. Keep doing more of the things that make you happy and bring you alive. I know I love painting. That's why I do it. See you next week.